Are y'all talking about Tupac Amaru Shakur? Man, you guys are nuts. You think if I guarantee you, if Tupac did not get shot in Las Vegas, there is no way. Listen, no way, shape, and form Nas is getting that tattoo, God Son, across his belly. I'm telling you, we finna go into the whole breakdown. You know what I'm saying? Because I want people to understand what I'm talking about. Now, the situations was laid out completely different back then. Like the internet, internet wasn't what it was, so that wasn't the main source of information. It was always magazine, television, and radio. They controlled the whole narrative of what the people believed. So back in those days, like 94, 95, that's when I think the first time they ever met. Like P got, he met them when they were some young dudes. Pac was in New York doing some thug life thing. And that's when they first like met Tupac, like seen Tupac and all this stuff. And it's a lot of stuff that transpired, you know. That's when, before everything was good. Now, Nas wasn't a real big Pac fan. Not then. His style was more G rap, you know, the bridge. It was more that Rakim and G rap into one. He was more like that. It wasn't like what people think it is. Like, oh no, he was doing this, he was doing no, he really wasn't, fam. He really wasn't. He really wasn't doing what people thought he was doing. So everybody's narratives change. And when your narratives change, people change. And I remember sitting there watching these dudes play themselves, and all of a sudden, people ideals and direction gets a little spotty. Like they have no idea like what happened. Everybody acts like they can't remember the beginning of something. When Pac was out, Pac didn't like you wearing the same outfit he wore. I mean, he really was against it. He didn't like you rapping on the same beat that he just rapped on. For people who don't know, that was a sign of disrespect. I think I've told you this before, but you got to understand. It's not like it is today. Like, yo, give us that beat, we gonna rock on it. It was a form of disrespect. If somebody rapped on the same beat you did and did another song, they don't even have to talk about you on the song. Just by doing that, it was like, oh, he's picking at me? Oh, he coming for me? He took my track. He took my beat. So when he stepped to Q-Tip, at the Source Awards, you know, that was a little different. Because that had some personal things that went back all into, poetic justice and, the Janet Jackson thing. So it was a little bit more to it than that. Now, they was rocking the beat that he had rocked to, but by happenstance, when you use a sample, it was what it was. But Pac was just heated anyway. He was fresh out of jail, so he was already just mad. Period. But to see Nas like years later, like after 99 and during that time, he was becoming like Pac. His rap flow, his style, he was trying to rep Pac. If you look at him back in the I Am album and you go back before and go to It Was Written and I Am, it's a whole shift. from who Nas was to who Nas became. Nas became a guy who was selling on the West Coast, loving and emulating Pac at the same time. He was loving and emulating Pac at the same time. You know, the Outlaw, some of the members was showing Nas love. Like, yo, man, that was love, what he did and all that. They weren't dealing with him, like, but he was trying to show love. They was like, yo, we respect, you know, he repping Pac, you know, name and everything else, keeping his name out there. Then he did Thug Life Is Mine. You know what I'm saying? Thug Life Is Mine. I'm like, whoa, that was a bit strong. That was a bit of a stretch. You know, and he's doing performances with the bandana, shirt all open, showing his non-muscular body, showing his non-muscular physique. But that was him, you know. That was how he moved. That was how he operated. So he was trying to be thugged out. Everything was thug, 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 and all his lyrics. You know, it's like it was a total you could see this shift. And when you when you listen to the I Am album, if you go back and listen to It Was Written, it's completely different. You can tell the era's changed. You can tell Big is gone, Pac gone. Now I could basically, you know, explore my own, you know, West Coast side and do all this stuff here. Now it's all one thing. And what they really was doing is they was headed towards the money. You know, everybody's looking at money now. So they looking at, yo, we got to get that revenue. We got to get that West Coast bag. So they start hanging out with more West Coast dudes, doing songs with guys that they would never be associated with. Every word out their mouth is that they love Pac and this and that. And Nas had love for Pac, but he, you know, Pac wasn't one of the guys he would break his neck to go listen to a Tupac album. He wasn't. He was more infatuated with the people that was around his area that he rhymed to. You know, the G-Raps and the, you know, Rakims, you know, Shans. You know, these were they. He was them type guys. You know, that was they heroes. So the whole thing about him getting he would have never pursued that role if Pac was alive. Pac energy, he would have knew that was a bad idea. I'm still, if out of all the things, Nas is one of my favorite artists. Him and LL, they are my favorite artists. Like, everybody know that. Grew up on them too. And without a shadow of a doubt, I know for a fact Nas would not have that God Son tattoo if Pac was alive. He wouldn't have gotten it. And then, here's the thing. That goes against everything you be teaching and preaching, dog. Those tats go against everything you've been preaching and teaching. You keep talking about Israelite and all that, everything. Dude, Israelites never was into the tats, bruh. Never. Everything you was doing was going against the 5% of knowledge. This God Son across the belly and stuff. I'm like, what is that? What that mean? God Son. Like, come on, man. Really? We all God's children. Now, you the Christo? You the Elohim now? What's going on, man? You know, Tupac's energy would have mashed that. If Nas would have tried to do that and pull that, he'd have been dragged off stage. That's the kind of energy Pac had. But when he came out with the Mobb Deep, Thug Life Is Mine, nobody on the West Coast said nothing. You know, I mean, they didn't. It was on the Mobb Deep album, and I'm just like, man, y'all did a record called Thug Life Is Mine? Like, Thug Life Is Mine. I'm like, what? and nobody on the West Coast said nothing. That's how I knew it was over. I said, "Oh, it's over." Ain't nobody really riding for him like that. The Outlaws was hot. Don't get me wrong; they was hot about that because they said, "Man, that just destroyed all the love." You know what I'm saying? That this guy put out there when he did the song. It's mine. And I don't hate the Outlaws at all. I don't hate them at all. Why would I ever harbor any hate for the Outlaws? But I know right now they doing what they got to do to get the bag. You know what I'm saying? They doing what they doing right now to get, hey, it's the bag. Because there's no way I would let that whole Tupac movie ride if I was riding with Pac. I'm not gonna say his boys ain't loyal. I'm just saying they was in a very difficult situation because they can rhyme and they were crucial, but they was so invested in Pac war that when it was over, they didn't know what. They had no direction. There was no second in command. Once Pac went and he was the general and he was busy being the general, he just had a bunch of foot soldiers and none of them was ready to lead. They ain't know what to do. They was lost. And they was out here in the world where they don't know what's finna happen with their album. They finna get paid. They not even signed. It's like, man, we supposed to be on Machiavelli Records. Like what's actually happening here? It never even happened. You know what I'm saying? So it was really a mess. I'm shocked. Still I Rise was able to come out. You know, I mean, the way I look at it is, it's hard to say like who's your favorite rapper because your favorite rapper could fall off. Like he just ain't bringing it no more. Like Andre Three Stacks always say, "Man, your favorite rapper just ain't bringing it like he used to." You know what I'm saying? So you got other rappers who bringing it right now. You know what I'm saying? So everybody had a moment because it was for a while LL wasn't bringing it, and I was like, "Man, L ain't bringing it right now." It's like way too many love songs. He's kind of got to get back, and he'll just do a whole like I'm gonna get back to it the next album. So I don't know, man. I look at hip hop for what it is. It's a lifestyle. See, a MC and a rapper, that's what they call them. I mostly say a MC and an artist. But a rapper raps for money. MCs wanna uplift the people. They wanna feel the energy of the people. They they the master of ceremony. That's what that means, dog. A master of ceremony. They hold the mic and they can control the people and the masses. That's what they want. They want their minds, b. They want the crowd of energy to jump up, come down, put your hands in the air, go side to side. They want to control the masses. They sharing their energy with you. You know what I'm saying? And then the whole place is vibing with you. They feed off that. That's what a master ceremony is. And you can control everybody. They listen to you when you speak. That's what Pac had that. Even though he was an artist, he was an MC too. But Biggie was more of an MC than he was an artist. He was learning how to become more of an artist. It's just that with Big, and the reason why we hold him to such high esteem is because of James Dean. James Dean was gone so quick. We really didn't get a chance to grasp what James Dean was doing. So when James Dean was doing his thing, he was tragically gone so quick. He became like, man, he went out on top. They never had a chance to really like fall off, so people can like, oh, okay, he sucked and this and that. Like with Pac, he has like even though he was young, he had done like so much in 5 years that it was enough work for somebody who'd been in the game for 20 years, 15 years. I mean, movies, like 5 records out, since the 90s. Remember, his first album was in like 91. And he was gone in 96. Look at all the work he had. He still had completed another 4 albums. We still got about another 3, 4 albums left to pop. So, and he already prepared for that. He's like, look, I got full 5 albums already done. So I know I'm going to live forever. Not in the physical, but, I'm going to be here forever. Because I'm going to at least be here for a long time. I got enough work to keep me here for like a long time after I'm gone. So he was already preparing for that and for that moment, which is eerie, but that's him. But I'm just so like, why did you do it? But for Nas, when your mom is, who raised you and she's passing away, you become vulnerable. A piece of you is gone. A piece of history is gone. And you don't know. It's like, man, I used to turn to that person to have conversation. Now I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's like, who I'm gonna have to fill that void. And just probably something he did in the moment and was really feeling it that now he probably don't even care about or think about. So it's one of those things, But he wouldn't have had that if Pac was alive. No, Pac wouldn't have let him ride with that. No. You're not getting no godson and nothing across your belly. No. No rapper doing that unless he came out the joint. And that's another thing that you guys got to recognize. All you guys out there who keep thinking like all this hip hop culture and dude, it's jail culture. Let's be real about it. All this style, sagging of the pants, come from jail. All right, the bandana style that came from jail. All this stuff was coming and invented was coming from jail. The no shoelaces in the shoes, the Run DMC, that was also from jail. So everybody was relating to this when they was going into hip hop. They was just bringing jail culture to the stage. So all these things that they were doing in jail, they were doing in prison. The one pants leg up, one pants leg down. They roll up their sleeves on one arm because they used those like a pocket to hide things in their sleeves. All these techniques that they was using in prison ended up coming out to the streets. So when people came home, they were still living that jail life on the streets. And it ended up being part of culture when other people see it and want to emulate it. So all of this stuff was jail culture. And that was influencing the industry at the time. Tattoos across the belly. That's jail. In jail they was doing that. Dudes getting tats all over their arms, sleeves. People were doing all that, getting tatted on their face because they was going to jail. They wasn't getting out. They was like, look, I ain't getting out. I might as well just do what I'm doing in here. So you got to understand culture, and understand the business of how people transcend that to the streets and they think that gives them a stamp. Like, oh, this dude's serious. Look what he got. Now these dudes are so warped up on drugs, their brains is all distorted. They just don't care about nothing. It drowns you and destroys your brain, and the things that used to be in your brain that had sensibility and concern and care for the other person, that doesn't exist no more. And that's replaced with any little thing that you think of disrespect goes to immediate anger, all the way to 99 of every little bitty thing. And it creates this distance and this disconnect between you and people. So you become more isolated. And a lot of people don't want to hang with you because you're unstable. So it's a lot of mental people damaged like that out here in the streets. And they messed up and they end up in the system. And that's exactly where they want you. So you got to get ahead of the game and get off these drugs, man. I mean, all these guys, man. So don't forget, man, support the page by liking it You know, you can subscribe if you're new here. Hit that notification bell, select all. And if you want to donate to our Cash App, it is Carceno, Carceno. We appreciate all the love and support, man. Be blessed.